Hi, fourth grade. This is a helping video for classroom practice 50. There was nothing new to teach you in chapter 10, lesson 4, because it's all review. All right, the first exercise, it says classify each sentence. Sentence 1, the sticky chocolate syrup dripped down the side of the bowl. What dripped down the side of the bowl? Syrup. Syrup is the subject noun. What is this saying about syrup? What did it do? It dripped. Verb. Down is always a preposition. Down what? Side. Object of the preposition. The is always an article adjective. Of is always a preposition. Of what? Bowl. Object of the preposition. The is always an article adjective. What kind of syrup? Chocolate syrup. Chocolate is answering what kind, so it's an adjective. What kind of chocolate syrup? Sticky chocolate syrup. Sticky is describing what kind. It's an adjective. The is always an article adjective. We have a period, statement, declarative sentence. We're back to our regular type of sentence here. We have a subject, noun, verb, pattern 1. Okay, let's put parentheses around our prepositional phrases. Down the side and of the bowl. And let's divide our complete subject from our complete predicate. To do that, find the verb. The verb is dripped. Divide it right before where the verb is. So the sticky chocolate syrup is the complete subject. Dripped down the side of the bowl is the complete predicate. Number 2, April brought us a variety of flowers from her garden. Who brought us a variety of flowers from her garden? April, subject noun. What is this saying about April? What did she do? Brought, verb. April brought what? Variety. Not flowers, because flowers is part of a prepositional phrase, but she brought a variety. So variety is the direct object. April brought a variety to whom? Us. If we're answering to whom, it's going to be an indirect object. Let's, of course, change the verb to a verb transitive because we have a direct object. A is always an article adjective. Of is always a preposition. Of what? Flowers, object of the preposition. From is always a preposition. From what? Garden, object of the preposition. Whose garden? Her garden. If we're answering the question whose, that means we have a possessive pronoun adjective. And we know that because her is showing possession of the garden. It's also a pronoun and it's also describing the garden, so it's also an adjective. We have a period, statement, declarative sentence. Let's put parentheses around our prepositional phrases. And we'll classify our sentence. We do have a direct object and an indirect object, so that means we have subject, noun, verb, transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3. Okay, and let's move on to sentence. Let's divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Let's find the verb, brought. Divide it right there. Complete subject is April, and the rest is the complete predicate. Sentence number 3. Bridget raises goats and chickens on her farm in the country. Who raises goats and chickens on her farm in the country? Bridget, subject noun. What is this saying about Bridget? What does she do? raises, verb. Bridget raises what? Goats and chickens. We have a compound direct object. Let's make the verb a verb transitive because we have two direct objects in the sentence. And is always a conjunction. On is always a preposition. On what? Farm. Object of the preposition. Whose farm? Her. If we're answering whose, it's a PPA, possessive pronoun adjective. It's possessive, it's a pronoun, and it's describing farm. In is always a preposition. In what country? Object of the preposition. The is always an article adjective. Period statement, declarative sentence, put parentheses around your prepositional phrases. This sentence has a direct object but not an indirect object, so we have pattern 2 here. Subject, noun, verb, transitive, direct object, pattern 2. Let's divide the complete subject from the complete predicate, find the verb, divide it right before the verb, and there we go. All right, let's do skills exercise 2. For each noun, write the rule number and the plural form that follows the rule. Some nouns have 2 acceptable plural forms, but you should use the plural spellings that can be verified by these rules. Okay, you should be very familiar with this box by now. You need to know these rules. Number 1, phone. We need to turn phone to plural. So let's look at the ending. There's nothing special about this ending. It's just a regular noun. So this is rule number 1. And that means, according to rule number 1, we just add an S because it doesn't have any special ending. So it's phones. Potato. Let's look at the ending. It ends with an O. It ends with a consonant and an O because T is a consonant. So look for the rule that says a consonant plus O. That's rule number 3. Rule number 3 says we add ES. Hero ends with an O. It ends with a consonant and an O. R is a consonant. So look for the rule that says consonant plus O. Again, it's rule number 3. Rule number 3 says we add ES. Heroes. Butterfly ends with a Y, ends with a consonant and a Y. Look for the rule that says a consonant plus Y. That is rule number 4. Rule number 4 says change the Y to an I and add ES. Butterflies. Dish ends with an SH. Look for the rule that ends with SH. Number 2. Rule number 2. Rule number 2 says add ES. Dishes. Man. Man is completely irregular. It's an irregular noun. So that's rule number 9. For rule number 9, we have to change the spelling completely for the plural form. Men. Box ends with an X. Look for the rule that says ends with an X. That's rule number 2. Rule number 2 says add ES. Boxes. Number 8, moose. Moose is just completely, it's irregular, but we don't change the spelling. Singular of moose, 1 moose is moose, and plural of moose is moose, so 5 moose. All right, so it's rule number 10. The plural of moose is moose. Number 9, half. Half ends with an F. So that means that it could be rule number 5 or number 6. You have to know these words pretty well to figure it out. You should know that to make half plural, we have to change the F to a V and add ES. So that is rule number 5. So half becomes halves. Number 10 is gulf. Again, ends with an F, but we don't say gulves, we say gulfs. So with this one, it follows rule number 6. We don't change the F to a V. So for rule number 6, we just add an S to the end. So we have gulfs. Number 11 is tooth. Tooth is irregular. So it follows rule number 9. We have to change the whole spelling to teeth. Number 12 is tray. Tray ends with a Y. It ends with a vowel plus a Y. Look for the rule that says a vowel plus Y. That's rule number 8. For rule number 8, it says we add an S. So trays. Number 13 ends with a Y. It ends with a consonant and a Y, because B is a consonant. So look for the rule that says a consonant plus Y. That's rule number 4. Oops. And rule number 4 says change the Y to an I and add ES. Lobbies. Number 14 is day. Day ends with a Y, ends with a vowel plus a Y, because A is a vowel. Look for the rule that says a vowel plus Y. Rule number 8. Rule number 8 says we add an S. Days. And we're finished with that section. Let's go to editing. Exercise 3. Use the editing guide to help correct each mistake. Underline the explanatory words. Number 1, my mother sat us down and said sternly, "We do not run and shout in the restaurant." Start by underlining your explanatory words. Always do that first. My mother sat us down and said sternly. That's a lot of explanatory words this time, but we know explanatory words aren't part of the actual quote. They're not part of what is said. Okay, now put quotation marks around what is said. And now let's go back to the beginning. Capitalize my, first word of the sentence. My mother sat us down and said sternly. We have explanatory words at the beginning. That means we need a comma after the explanatory words. It's kind of hard to see that comma. Okay, and then we capitalize the first word inside the quotation marks. We do not run and shout in the restaurant. We need an ending here to the sentence. So we could put an exclamation point probably, or a period. I'm going to put a period at the end. All right, let's make sure we got everything. Let's count our mistakes. Should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got them all. Number 2, I picked strawberries and I earned $10 yesterday, bragged Bradley. Start by underlining your explanatory words. Then put quotation marks around what is being said. Okay, now let's go back to the beginning. Capitalize the word I. I picked strawberries and I, capitalize the word I. Earned $10 yesterday. You should have noticed that this sentence has 2 independent clauses. I picked strawberries, I earned $10 yesterday. You know that they're independent clauses because they could stand on their own. Right? They have complete subject. They both have a complete subject, a complete verb. They make complete sense on their own. When we have 2 independent clauses joined together into one sentence, we always have to have a comma and a conjunction. This is missing the comma. It has the word and, but we need the comma. So I picked strawberries, comma, and I earned $10 yesterday. And now, of course, we need a comma at the end of our quote. Bragged Bradley, capitalize Bradley, it's a name. And then put a period at the end of the sentence. And let's count our mistakes. We should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we have them all. Number 3. Do you want to climb Round Mountain? Marcus asked Joe excitedly. We can go on Saturday. Underline your explanatory words. So underline Marcus asked Joe excitedly. And then put quotation marks around what is being said. We have explanatory words in the middle, so that means we need quotation marks around what is being said first, and then quotation marks around what is being said after the explanatory words. Okay, do you want to climb Round Mountain? And we can go on Saturday. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Capitalize the first word of the sentence. Do you want to climb Round Mountain? That's a specific place. So it's a proper noun. We need to capitalize Round Mountain. And this is the end of our first quote, so we need punctuation there. It's a question, though, so let's put in a question mark. And then Marcus is a proper noun because it's a name. So Marcus asked Joe. Joe, again, is a proper noun. Joe excitedly. Let's put a period at the end of our first sentence. So put a period right here. And then, sorry, that looks like a comma. Put a period. Okay, that's supposed to be a period. All right, and then let's capitalize the first word of the next sentence. We can go on Saturday. Capitalize Saturday, proper noun. And then you need punctuation at the end. You can use an exclamation point or a period. It really doesn't matter. He was talking to Joe excitedly, so you could do an exclamation point. I'm going to put in a period, but either way is fine. All right, let's count our mistakes. We should have 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, we have them all. And that is the end.